here, really, because at the time there was a huge amount of criticism about the police for, well, essentially releasing what you could argue is medical information, really.
Yeah, well, to sort of paraphrase doing these two inquiries that have announced their findings this afternoon, it's essentially nothing to see here, kindly move on. But we did learn that the police contact with Nicola Bulle before she went missing was when an officer responded to an ambulance being called to her house. We discovered that this afternoon. That has been investigated by the Independent Office of Police Conduct, and they found that there is no misdemeanour there, for want of a better expression. Although, together with the Information Commissioner's Office, saying that again, with regards to that information being released, they find no adverse kind of comment on that. It is really interesting that we don't have lessons have been learned, that tired old phrase that kind of makes my heart sink wherever I hear it. We now have new phrasings, procedural learning and areas of learning. So possibly somebody's got promoted for coming up with this new terminology.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the mind boggles, doesn't it, when it comes to that kind of odd stuff. But the police overall absolutely copped it at the time for what was seen, because of the length of time it took to find Nicola, as some kind of bungled operation. We had that chap who was a part of a dive team as well, who was, for want of a better phrase, sticking his oar in left, right and centre, wasn't he? And then people saying that maybe now the police have got something to answer for here. But the reality is, Peter, that we are going to have to wait for this inquest to get all of the answers, aren't we?
Absolutely. The coroner's inquest will be absolutely crucial, and that is when we will hear every single piece of information about the search for Nicola in its entirety. And let's not forget, it wasn't the police that found Nicola's body. Tragically, that was discovered by members of the public. And there is yet another inquiry, which is the College of Policing, who are doing their own independent inquiry into it as well. So it'll be very interesting to see if they discover that there are more areas of learning, for example.
Yeah, and I think for some people who are maybe saying, well, why are you all raking this up now? Well, this news has just dropped today, so there is that. But also, at the time, Peter, there were so many conspiracy theorists doing the rounds, weren't there? You couldn't move for it online. A lot of it was, well, all of it really, was bang out of order, and it was incredibly mawkish and horrible, really. So, actually, I think it is probably in the public's interest to know, whilst maintaining absolute respect to the family, as much information as possible, which maybe shuts a few people up.
Undoubtedly, but the uncomfortable truth is this gossip and rumour mongering still continues apace. I am contacted every week by people forwarding stuff to me from different groups on Facebook, for example, where the conversations are running rampant. And I'm afraid that today is probably not going to quell much of that. It will continue. What we really need to hear is all the evidence from the inquest, and hopefully we get definitive answers to all the questions that so many people.
Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. Sorry about that, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. I'd like to start by wishing everyone a blessed week. Today's case is of missing Nicola Bulle. Nicola was found on the 19th of February. She was reported missing on the 27th of January. She was last seen at the River Torpart at 9:15 by 2 or 3 witnesses, I believe. Her mobile phone was found on the bench. It moved to the bench. And her dog, Willow, a brown spaniel, was found running either from the embankment to the bench or from the bench to the gate. We have been given. Immediately a large search was conducted for Nicola Bulle. Nicola was missing for 23 days, and Nicola was found in the river near Rockcliffe Road, and she was found, I believe, on the 19th of February. This case has created a lot of rumors, speculations. Timelines have been changed. Witnesses that were allegedly told to us that they were witnesses have said they either weren't there or they were, for some reason, no longer witnesses. The other witnesses have been strictly told not to talk to the media and the public. Nicola received a visit. An ambulance was called to house. This was on the 10th of January, 17 days before Nicola went missing. The police clearly said that no arrest was made in this incident, so that makes me believe that there has been other incidents. Because when you hear clearly that no arrest was made in this incident, it sounds like that there has been previous incidents, that this ain't the first incident. So we still don't know if it was, what the call was for, what the visit was for, if it was a medical emergency, if it was a mental health emergency, or we don't know exactly what happened. But that investigation was done by the IOPC watchdogs, and they did not find any mistakes done by the police. Only one detective was sent to Nicola's house. So we don't know what that was about, but then it makes me ask myself a question. Who usually, when you usually call an ambulance to address, it depends on the emergency. I can talk for at least UK, London, where I live. And then they decide if the emergency is necessary to send an ambulance over. So I don't know who called the ambulance is really important, or who called the police that day. It could be a neighbor, it could be Paul, allegedly, it could be anyone. But the reason that I'm curious who called the neighbor, who called the police, if it was a neighbor, if it was Paul, or a family member, or was it Nicola herself? Because if somebody called, just say if the neighbor called, I would assume that Nicola must have been having an episode. If she didn't have physical problems, then she must have had a mental health episode. That is quite possible. Another thing I think about, if a neighbor called and automatically said they sent the ambulance and the police, it sounds like that they know about Nicola Bulle, may she rest in peace, his case. I mean, like that she had medical vulnerabilities. That is quite possible. But then the question that comes into my mind, which I can't stop thinking about, is if Nicola had vulnerabilities, which she did. That was what it said on the 15th, 9:15, at the river top part where Nicola was missing. It's even in many news reports that it was 9:15. So when Nicola was missing at 9:15, when Nicola was missing, reported missing at 9:15, my question is, why did it take the witnesses, Penny, and all those other people who were near the bench or near the site where Nicola was reported missing, near the embankment, why did it take them over an hour an hour and 20 minutes, I believe, to call the police. Why would it take? Unless you're up to something, or unless you're trying to get rid of evidence, allegedly, this is for entertainment purpose only. So don't come for me. What I'm trying to say is, if you look at it, you have, let's say that Nicola was vulnerable, isn't it, from the 10th of January. So if Nicola was noted as she was vulnerable, and on the 10th of January, something happened, whether it was a related to mental health, like say a mental health episode, or if it was something like, something around these areas to be classified as vulnerable. Why would her partner, Mr. Paul Ansell, let Nicola drive the daughters to the primary school? And why would he, in fact, be helping her? Like he said, to put the children to fasten their seat belts, to put the dog in the boot. He said if it was her turn to drive, which we clearly saw that he did not do. So there is a lot of concerns with the interview that he took. So I don't understand, if you have a partner who's physically or mentally not well, especially mentally, just say for example, or has alcohol issues, which I don't believe Nicola Bulle had alcohol issues, but even if she had that, why would you put more burden on your partner who's struggling and let her drive the daughters to the school? And not only that, drive the daughters to the school and then park the car, walk with the dog, with their family dog, which was like the third child, and then drive back home. That is the thing I don't understand. Because you know clearly, if it was my loved one that was in any kind of situation like that, I would make sure that I monitored them. I would make sure that I wouldn't let them drive. I wouldn't let them even go out to the shop. I'd make sure I go out. I send my children, not even children, they're grown children, send them to the shop or do anything for just say my family member. But why would I let someone drive my children to school when I can see that they have their own vulnerabilities, whatever vulnerabilities is that? It is vulnerabilities enough for the police to have come with the ambulance. Think about that. How often does the police come with the ambulance? I know of situations I could tell you that police come with the ambulance. If there's a violent person, if it's a violent area, if there's dogs that can attack the ambulance drivers or the police. Because in London, when you call an ambulance and when you talk to the ambulance and all, and if they're willing to, if they see that it's important for them to come, that it's an emergency, they ask you questions like, do you have dogs? Does your neighbors have dogs? Is there anything we need to know? So why would the police come? Because I personally believe, and this is for entertainment purpose, the police knew about the address, whatever was going on there. And I'm not going to speculate because there were different speculations everywhere, on Facebook, everywhere, and it becomes a bit too much. I believe there is some truth in something said there, but there's no evidence to back it up. That is sad. But I want to concentrate, focus, and discuss what we see as facts, like the interviews. And I think that is the problem. That is where most of us, it's not the problem. Yeah, I was about to say it's not the problem. In fact, I think that is what the police had issues with. They said, I know that's where the police had issues with because they were saying stop speculating. But let's be honest, we have Nicola, Bulle, may she rest in peace, is a partner acting like a dodgy character, not showing any empathy in his interviews. I said he's not even showing empathy in his interviews. You don't see anything there. Sorry, guys. You don't see anything there to actually see or feel that the partner is really suffering, that he misses his wife, his partner. Because when somebody has a missing loved one, they usually help with the searches. Or am I wrong? I think this is what makes it so odd with this case. I think that's what's making it really odd in this case, that we don't see any empathy, we don't see any pleading. That is the word. I guess he pleaded once or twice in the interviews he's done, but you don't see him with. He should be one of the people. Paul should be one of the people that after he drops his daughters to school, he should be standing there with the line of people appealing for dash cameras. Am I right or wrong? How come we don't see that? I've even heard that from the beginning of the searches, Paul wasn't part of the search. Paul used to actually, the first couple of days, allegedly, not first couple of days, I think the second or third day, he was in a family. No, I'll just skip that even, sorry. He wasn't searching, basically. He was seen in places he wasn't supposed to be seen. Places where people go out at night to have a good time. And I can understand that people can say, yeah, he's stressing, his partner is missing, but you don't do that on the first 2 days. Second, third day of the search, think of a person going to a bar to a pub, allegedly. Aren't you supposed to be searching for the mother of your children? Isn't that what is supposed to be the most important priority in your life? And this was people allegedly who knew him and who took a recording or something of it. And I've heard that rumor on a couple of places. It's not even a rumor. 2 or 3 different kind of people saw him the same night in a different place. In a place, just say a place that he wasn't searching clearly for his partner. So those are the things that raises concerns. Then the first concern was that the police had no other hypothesis than Nicola falling in the river. It seemed like they already knew from day one. How come it took the police so long time to come to the bench? It's because the neighbors and Penny, not the neighbors, the Penny and the witnesses and all must have called him late. I heard that Penny called the vet first. Look at these people. They're calling the vet first. The others call the primary school before the police. What is happening? What is happening that these people are deliberately ignoring the right thing to do by calling the police if somebody is reported missing or if somebody can't be found, especially near the river bank? That when I see such things going on, I start asking myself, is this a game? Or maybe Nicola wasn't near the riverside at all. Because now that is the thing, notice, that is the thing that this whole plan was to distract us, if you all didn't notice. It's nothing else but to distract us. With the timeline, I believe this was all to distract us. First, by changing the timelines from the river tour part to the bench, then changing the witnesses, everything is a distraction here. Everyone and everything that's happening is a distraction. Because which normal human being who has a soul would let someone, their partner or their loved one, drive their children that are most precious to them in the world? The person actually put his partner and his daughters in jeopardy, and then he comes on the interview saying, I have nothing more to say besides what the family said yesterday. And then he turns around and says, my focus is my two girls. How could your focus be your two girls when you are letting the mother of your girls drive them to school when she's not in the best shape? According to you, Paul, because you're the one who said she has alcohol issues due to the menopause, which wasn't true. Because allegedly, all the people who knew her, people talk, Paul. And people are saying you had a drinking problem, allegedly, not her. I'm being honest. So I don't know if it's a rumor, I don't know if it's a speculation. I'm being mindful. But these questions all remain to be seen. Why did Nicola call the ambulance? Why were they called? Was it DV? Was it domestic V? Could that be possible? Isn't it strange that the CCTV footage isn't working in Garston Road? Strange. And the caravan park is involved, whether they like it or not. I'll tell you the reason they're involved. I go with facts. What's her name? Penny is the one who tied up the dog. She called a vet. She was allegedly even going to a doctor's appointment instead of calling a doctor. Ron is a brother-in-law. The woman in the red is Penny's sister, wasn't it? That means Ron's wife. The Fletcher family say they don't want to. Speculations have to stop. But if speculation should stop, then it's better to come and say what you saw. But when Penny is telling people to bugger off, it just raises more red flags and more suspicions. Especially when all of the people around the bench, around maybe allegedly the decoy place, why didn't anyone think, let me call 911? The police need to be here immediately. Did they call the police immediately and the police took time to come? It's one of the two. And I know it's them who took the time to call, because the Moby check around, it is them who took the time to call. And the police must have taken their own time. So was Nicola really in the river, or was Nicola put back in the river? It's clear to see. Nicola was put back in the river. And I don't believe Nicola was put from Rawcliffe side. I believe she was put from the opposite side of the river. You can see the whole field being disturbed. And then, if you pass that field, you have a long road there that you see cars walking, and I believe that's Garston Road, towards not the primary school and the river tour side, the other side. So whoever did this at night. We were all too focused in the bench because they wanted us to be focused in the bench. That was what it was. Simple. They got our focus on the bench. They decided, you know what? We can't say that we'll keep the timeline. What we'll do is we'll say, let's make it 9:15, river top. Like they said, this is what they said. Was it 9:15, the river top part? People are not buying that, yeah? Okay, let's say that it was the main field and the other field, was it the lower field, yeah? And then we'll say that her phone made its way to the bench. The phone could have been found on the floor in the river top part. Have you thought of that? There are many things that don't make sense. I heard that Willow and the Willow was found running in the river top part area towards the bench. So did something happen at the river top part? Did somebody tamper on purpose with the cameras, with the CCTV footage? It's always known that criminals do that. Obviously, when a crime is in progress, allegedly, they've seen enough movies to know what to do. Sometimes I wonder, was Nicola having maybe a stalker? Or was somebody stalking her, whether it was a partner or somebody else? Because what was strange is Nicola's Facebooks started turning more private. There wasn't much up in her Facebook till, I believe, December. So something was happening in that period. And then if you look at Mortgage Advisory Facebook, that was on up to the 18th of January. And she was missing on the 27th. So that's 9 days missing. Did something happen to Nicola on the 10th of January is my question. Is all this a decoy? We need to think about that. And what I found really, really terrible, unprofessional, and really, really disturbed me, really hurted me kind of. It disturbed my ears just hearing that, actually, from one of the channels today. And I'm sure most of you all heard it. If you all haven't heard it, it's just shocking that some people were discussing about having emails about Nicola's mental health. And they said that somebody leaked it out from Blackpool Hospital, a nurse or something. I find that to be extremely, extremely disturbing. And the YouTube creator is saying that I have it on my email. And she said that when I said it, on Facebook group, that everyone started yelling at me and saying, "Where did you hear that from?" And she said, I expected them to all know. Obviously, we don't know. These are not things you're supposed to have. And if you have, hand it over to the police. Grizzly True Crime is going around saying that the keys were in the pocket. Today, the other one says, another YouTuber says about Nicola's mental health diagnosis. She's saying that Nicola has a couple of mental health diagnoses. I think this is really sad and heartbreaking. People are forgetting that Nicola Bulle has 2 beautiful daughters alive. And I'm sure many people will be saying, but why are you saying that? You're talking about it. You know, there's a difference. I'm trying to stick and discuss about what... Yeah, I'm trying to discuss and talk about what facts, evidence we have from the police themselves, and and talk about the interviews example, whether it's Emma's interview, whether it's Paul's interview, whether it's the councilman's interview like Sky News did, whether it's Ron's interview, one of the witness allegedly that the police forgot to mention that the witness Ron, all of those people, when you think about it, are part of the case. Once you go to the news or the news comes to you and says, can we do an interview? And you do it and it goes on mainstream news, you're part of the program. You are involved in the story. So you can't pick and choose and say, oh, you can't analyze my interview or whatsoever, but you just have to do it mindfully and professionally. And remember to say that it's for speculation, no, for entertainment purpose only. But what is sad is when YouTubers are sitting and discussing somebody is mental health disorders that was leaked out, a person who lost a life. Let's not forget, Nicola is not here to defend herself. So even if you have that email, this was made a couple of hours ago, and I don't want to point out fingers or say anything about anyone's name, but that needs to stop. Because I find that really heartbreaking, especially not as a parent, because that is my line of work. Mental health counseling, we're not allowed to be breaching people's mental health disorders. And then y'all are discussing about having emails. Whatever you have it, don't give it to the public. We're not interested. Give it to the police. Grisly true crime, whatever you're talking about, Nicola's keys being found in the pocket and the CCTV footages, turn it over to the police. We're allowed to sit here and speculate, but we're not supposed to be tampering with the active case, because main thing is we want justice on Nicola Bulle. We don't want people to come and tamper with the case, and we don't need people to be like what just happened, that Nicola's privacy was breached. So the YouTuber was talking about it today so popularly, she was talking with confidence. You are talking about somebody's mental health illnesses and saying that somebody sent you an email. If somebody sends you an email of something that is most likely evidence, turn it over to the police. Let them decide if they want to throw it away or keep it. But it's not your job to come here and tell it on your live stream while the world is watching. This is somebody's mental health papers. Whoever sent you, you're trying to find out. You said, I need to go back to my email and check. It's not about who sent you. By you accepting it is as bad as it, and not handing it over to the police. This is really disrespectful to Nicola's daughters and to her parents. We need to stop with that. We need to be mindful. We need to be professional. We need to carry ourselves with dignity and give Nicola the dignity she deserves. Especially give her more the dignity that she's not here now. There's a difference about talking about what we think about Paul or the other people and talking about Nicola's confidentiality, her medication, her medical rights. And I hope they find out who's the person in Blackpool Hospital who's leaking out Nicola's mental health diagnosis. That is illegal. All of them need to be sued. That one needs to lose her job. She's allegedly a nurse. She was a counselor, a mental health counselor, or a psychologist, or therapist, psychiatrist. Your license would have been revoked, my dear. This is a dead person who's not here to get justice for herself. That's what we are trying to do. So stop bringing this on YouTube. What is in Facebook needs to remain in Facebook. What is in YouTube needs to remain in YouTube. I don't mean to be rude. But when Nicola's medical things are coming up, but I'm most focused and occupied in the location Nicola's body was found, near Rockcliffe Road. Because it doesn't make sense. Where did the psychic come from? And not only that, it took 23 days, almost 24 days to find Nicola Bulle. but the psychic came from nowhere and found in a second. And haven't you all noticed, because it's in the mainstream channels, if you look around, you see pictures of where Nicola was found. Nicola was not found in the reefs. We need to remember that Nicola was found floating from upwards, because you can see the police, divers or the police, you put an orange rope they tied on, God forbid, Nicola's body, whatever that was coming into the water. And you can see literally the gap, the officer standing a bit up on the hill. He's standing behind the psychic and he has the rope, and you can see how far the rope is going. The rope is actually going right in the water, far away from the reefs. They pulled her towards the reefs. It's the rope, they pulled her towards the reefs. That's what I think trigger warning that happened. And I'll try and find that for you all and put it up. So I'm wondering, was Nicola, she couldn't have been missed. Because remember what Peter Folding said. He said that he was talking about the sheep that fell in the water that every night would float backwards or come. Just let me put it on actually. Yeah, while I'm getting that ready, I wanted to talk about one thing about Derek. Derek Clayton was a 71-year-old man. He was reported missing in Lancashire, in Lafayette, was it? I forgot the name, but anyway, this isn't far from. He was last seen around walking near the I can't remember the name. FYLD. Anyway, the place that he was found wasn't far from the place that he was reported missing was near the sea, actually. Near, what's it called? Ski pool, car park, and the creek and those areas. What I found to be strange is, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that he was an engineer too, Derek. So I don't know if that has any connection, because I've heard another thing that he used to work with Paul or something, but I don't know about that. But all that we know for a fact is that Nicola got a Facebook text from the police asking her if she could help to give them more information about missing Derek Clayton. So isn't that very strange? I find that to be very strange. And it's been said that Nicola was going out for a search soon to find, to organize a search to help find Derek Clayton. I was wondering, it's a long stretch, but it's just a speculation. I was wondering, could the third party, if there's a third party, be the people who were involved in Derek Clayton's missing case? Because they could have maybe saw on the Facebook and saw the message the police wrote to Nicola, and they could have thought that Nicola is working for the police, and maybe they're bad people, so they came in to revenge. I don't know, it's just a thought. But it's very strange because he was last seen, Derek, the 71-year-old man, was last seen near the river and the sea along. And then Nicola goes missing. And the police asked Nicola to help them to search for him, for the man who was missing. And then all of a sudden Nicola goes missing. Because what I find strange is allegedly, it seemed to me like the police knew immediately that she fell in the water. And not because the witness told her, but it's like they were expecting something to, I don't know, God forbid. It just feels like, I'm wondering, since the 10th of January was Nicola maybe not supposed to be outside resting at home, or maybe was it a Section 47? Maybe she's supposed to be put in a hospital or something. Because it's like immediately when the police came, they were like, she fell in the river, that's it. And we knew she wasn't in the river. Professionals like Peter Folding, SGI team, the police divers, the rescue team, all of them checked. She wasn't there. So what is really happening here? Whatever's happening, I always said I believe up to today that money is the motive. Nicola was selling life insurance, Nicola was not selling, she was advising people to get themselves life insurance and mortgage insurance and all. Was somebody maybe forcing Nicola to sign some papers she didn't want to? Something is not right here. Doesn't make sense at all. Ron should have been mentioned as a witness. He was never mentioned as a witness. Why isn't Penny talking? Paul said that my two focus are my girls. Your focus should be on the girls, obviously, but your focus is supposed to be on your missing partner. The girls are right, they're not missing. For me, it sounded like somebody wants to get away with the excuse, like my focus is my missing children, so don't talk to me. It seemed like it was a certified excuse. And I'm not attacking Paul or anyone, I'm just saying what I see in a mindful, decent way. There's not even one thing right I can see that Paul has done. He wasn't searching for his wife, not at the start, not towards the end. No empathy. Giggling on these interviews, just like Nicola's friend, we know who. I hope we get justice on Nicola, because I think this is deeper than we believe. This is a very heartbreaking and tragic case. Please like, share, and subscribe. And this is for entertainment purpose only. Bye.